This is exactly what Warriors fans were worried about. After a tough stretch of losses against a Milwaukee Bucks team without Giannis Antetokounmpo and a winless Indiana Pacers team, Dub Nation is left asking a ton of questions. And we're going to get into all those questions here in this video in just a moment right here on Warriors Digest. But before we do, I know what you're thinking. It's early in the season. We're barely into November. It's just a couple of games, right? No big deal. Well, let me remind you, between the 3 seed and the 8 seed in the Western Conference at the end of the regular season last year, there was a 2-game difference. 50 wins for the 3-seeded team, just 48 wins for the 8-seeded team. Right? Every game in this Western Conference is an absolute gauntlet, and these 2 games may seem like not big of a deal early in the season, still figuring everything out, but every single game in the Western Conference, especially the ones you were supposed to win against an Indiana Pacers team with 7 role players out, including their star Tyrese Halliburton, against a Milwaukee Bucks team that sees Ryan Rollins put up a 30-piece against Dub Nation, his former team, looking like prime Steph Curry out there, getting to the rim easily on Draymond, hitting step-back threes in the wing, right? These are games and situations and outcomes that we cannot have. And I want to break down exactly how we got there, why it's happening, and what to do to solve it all in today's video. But we're going to remain positive as much as these losses stung and as much as it is frustrating because this is a squad that probably should be 7-1 right now, 6-1. Instead, we're sitting at 4-3, and this team has a lot of questions to answer and a lot of struggles that have to get figured out. And before we get into all that, I want to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button. 7 games through the season, continuing to put out post-game videos for everything this year. And as much as there has been a frustration, I'm still as pumped as ever about this season. I still believe this team has a massive potential to be a championship contender. And yeah, the struggles are frustrating, but none of them are season-defining struggles. There wasn't a major injury. There wasn't something that feels like it's irreplaceable, right? This team is still the same team that beat the Denver Nuggets a week ago. The same team that made the LA Lakers, sure, no LeBron, but the LA Lakers that have now gone on a little bit of a winning streak here look like they shouldn't even be competing in the same gym as us. So this is a team that has high expectations, and I still expect us to meet them. But for right now, these are 2 losses that you have to look in the mirror and say, what the heck happened? Let's take a look at the stats so far throughout the season. A couple of things that need to be fixed. Steph Curry needs to be a little bit more efficient. We'll get to the shooting numbers in a second, but still averaging 26. I mean, this is where our top 3 scorers should be this year. Steph at 27-ish, Jimmy in the plus 20s, and then hopefully Jonathan Kuminga can continue to elevate his game to around 18 to 19. He's been fantastic to start the year. Brandon, you expect him to be around 12. Everybody else is going to fill out. The numbers that I'd like to be higher. Moses Moody needs to be above a 10-point per game score. I'd like Buddy Hield to be, executing on better 3-point shooting percentages throughout the rest of the year. And all these numbers together, everything individually just needs to go up and up and up and up because our numbers are not where they should be right now. From a shooting perspective right here, Steph is way under what he should be. He's a 50-40-90 type guy. That's not where he's at right now. Field goal percentage-wise, 3-point shooting-wise, he's struggling, especially in these last 2 games. Jimmy looks excellent. Everything Jimmy's done so far this season, I've been very impressed with. Same thing with Kuminga. But specifically, let's talk into some positives and negatives about the season so far. And this is one last thing I wanted to check out before we get into the positives and negatives and exciting things and frustrating things is this performance the other night against the Indiana Pacers. Nothing on this sheet stands out to me as overly positive. I mean, Kuminga had a decent night, but overall didn't impact the game in anything positively, ultimately, because he ends up at a negative 20. Scored the ball okay. I think he ended up having like 5 dunks or something, but the bench was absolutely abysmal. Buddy Hield's been a non-factor. It's been a rough couple of days. Positives so far through the season. Kuminga looks like an all-star. That signing looks better and better through every single game. His decision-making is better. His 3-point shooting stroke is better. Jonathan Kuminga is going to be a star, and he's playing like it right now. Melton and Curry are on their way, right? D'Anthony Melton is going to fill a role on this team of a consistent shooting and solid defensive guard. A role right now that's being filled by Pods and Moody and Gary and Gee and Will, and we can't quite figure out how they all work together because they all have flaws, but they all have strengths. D'Anthony Melton has a little bit of all of those guys, and he's going to fit in perfectly. And Seth Curry's another guy just to come off the bench and score because we don't have a lot of scoring off the bench right now. We just don't. And it's going to be important for one of those guys to step up. I expect it to be Melton, but there might be nights where Seth Curry gets involved in the box score as well. There have been flashes of really good moments from Podziemski, Post, Will Richard, and Moody. Will Richard specifically, I'm not sure why he doesn't get the minutes from the Pacers game. feels like a guy that you need to build up his confidence early in his career, give him heavy minutes. And when I say heavy minutes, I don't mean, play him 30 minutes a game, but from a rookie perspective, continue to get him around 10 to 15. To not play him against the Pacers, a solid defensive player who's been scrappy against a Pacers team that was all about hustle and heart the other day. Feels like he would have been in a good position, but instead we choose to just go with a rotation where we're running 11 and Will doesn't get any run. I like Will Richard minutes over Guy right now. I like Will Richard moments over Gary Payton. Even though Guy had 3 offensive boards and hit his shots, Gary did a couple of things. I still think this team is better off when those guys are in the game. And when I say that, I mean Will Richard and Moody. I think those are the guys that we need to run in those positions. But rotations are still getting figured out. We'll get to that in the negatives in a second. Free throw numbers are up, and you've seen that a little bit from the guys above too. BP, Post, Will Richard, Moody, like all these guys are showing that they have potential to be excellent, but the rotations aren't at a point right now where any of them are getting a solidified chance to make that happen. Like Will Richard's minutes get stripped. Post, we start him one night, but then he only ends up playing 12 minutes as a starter, and then really isn't getting much opportunity elsewhere. So how is he supposed to find a rhythm, right? If we're going to commit to him being the starter or the bench guy, like you have to give him opportunities to make those plays, and he's not getting those opportunities right now. I get the matchups have been weird, but man, against the Pacers team that, listen guys, the overarching theme of this video is those losses can't happen. This is a Western Conference where every game matters, and every game is going to be incredibly important throughout the season. And I understand a loss to a Nuggets team or a Thunder team, a battle it out night, maybe second night of a back-to-back. Bucks game we had a rest. Pacers game we had a rest, and it just looked like there was no hustle, no effort. An incredibly lackluster performance from the hustle perspective. I thought looked lethargic out there. Looked really lethargic. Free throw numbers are up, like I said. Both percentages, I think we're around 85%. We're shooting about 25 free throws a game. So if that can stay there, we're going to win a lot of football games. Going to win a lot of basketball games, but just got to continue to prove that that's a part of the game that we have. And then beating good teams. I mean, we've had some great wins to start the season. Clippers, we ran through them, and you're feeling happy about that. And then the 2-game road stretch is just rough. But again, it's early. We've beaten good teams. Beat the Nuggets, beat the Lakers. So find a way to build on those moments, not the frustrating ones. Negative side of things, Al Horford showing his age. Man, he is the perfect fit to this team, and against the Nuggets was the best example of how he can impact the game. But he's not shooting it well enough right now. He's just not. Al Horford's sitting at 29% from 3. That's not going to work. That's not going to work if he's going to want to get consistent minutes on this roster at his age. He's going to have to continue to impact the game defensively and then put up something like 35 to 40% shooting from 3. He's just going to have to. Rotations aren't there yet. I don't know what they're going to look like. I'm not blaming Steve Kerr because we're still figuring it all out. This is a deep team. I will blame Steve Kerr a little bit from the side of things of again, let's try and find some continuity. Let's run those units in Milwaukee and then Indiana, run them the same twice, right? Because it's not a big enough sample size right now to be able to prove which guys work well together. So I feel like giving the guys a little bit more run with those rotations and sticking to them is going to allow us to do some things and learn a lot about our team, but I don't think we're committing to that enough. Buddy, Steph, Horford, Pods, Moody have been inefficient. I mean, when we look at these numbers from a three-point side of things, again, Pods is at 39, Moody's at 45, but he's shooting it from 35% from the field. Buddy's at 28, that can't be there. And then Steph too, man, only 38% from 3. I know we expect a lot of that guy, but that's not going to get it done for the season. Just got to be better. I mean, that night, the other night for Steph, I mean, 4 of his 16 from 3, 8 of 23 from the field. He just didn't have it. He's going to have nights like that. I expected him to be an MVP candidate this year. I still think he can get there, but it hasn't been pretty the last couple. And then losing to bad teams. Don't lose to a Pacers team with 7 role players out that hasn't had a win on the season. That is unacceptable. Steve said some things about, man, maybe we overlooked them, didn't have the team ready to go. Like, that is a completely unacceptable excuse. You train all off season and you work all season long in training camp, now in practice, to be ready to win the games that you're supposed to win. I get if you go up against a talented team. I don't understand how you lose to a team like Indiana. I get it's the NBA. If you have an off shooting night and the other guys step up, great. But when it's Quinten Jackson and it's these other guys that are doing things to us that, it's just not anywhere where they should be against a team defensively that we want to be really solid and we want that to be a staple of our team. And then that happens and it's like, man, this is not a championship team. I think we'll get there. I think that we have the potential to be there, but I don't think we're there right now. But it's frustrating because against the Nuggets, we win that. And then we improved to 4-1 after the Clips. We're 4-1. I'm thinking, man, might be the best team in the Western Conference. Then you lose these two. All the momentum is stripped away. Want to create identity of a champion now, which is why there's no time to wait and getting back on track after 2 bad losses. Find a way to get her done. Warriors have already been called for 5 moving screens this game. I think it ended up being 6 or 7. That can't happen. That shows a lethargic, not locked in, unfocused, not worrying about the details team. Can't happen. Just like that, we're the 7th seed. I think after even last night again, we're now the 8th seed, right? So you just got to find a way to bounce back. Suns, then Sacramento, win some games and get back on track. I have no doubt that we will, but it's frustrating. Next games. Suns, Kings, Nuggets, Pacers, Thunder, Spurs. This isn't an easy stretch of basketball. Suns and Kings have to have wins. You have to get to 6-3. And then Nuggets, Pacers, Thunder, Spurs. Another 4 tough games. The Pacers, we're going to get a chance at a rematch for them. But, I mean, should be able to get it done. Hopefully all those guys remain out and we get a chance to run them out of the gym this time. Nuggets is going to be tough. And then again, Thunder and Spurs. Those are 2 really tough games. Dylan Harper's going to be out for a couple of weeks, so maybe they're undermanned. Find a way to get her done. Steve Kerr going to be out tomorrow night against the Suns to be ready for the Kings and Domantas Sabonis. Folks, we're 4-3. We got a really, really good basketball team that has made some really, really poor mistakes over the last couple of games. Find a way to bounce back, get on track. I expect that we will. But this is what Warriors fans were worried about. This was what Warriors fans were afraid of. That we would get to this position in the Western Conference again and lose games that we are not supposed to lose and not be consistent enough to win another championship. I think we can. I think this is clearly the best team we've had in years, but you got to win the one you're supposed to. You got to win the ones that you're supposed to win. I believe that we will moving forward, but it's a bump in the road. But we'll get back on track. I've been Houston Bo. You guys have been the fans. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, go Dubs. Peace.